In the last video, we looked at the physical evidence of past lives, the cellular echoes like birthmarks and mystery pains that act as receipts for where we've been. But the question I hear most often is why? Why would a soul choose to come into a body with a limitation? Why would we intentionally sign up for a life that includes chronic health challenges or difficult family dynamics or deep-seated fears? Most of us were raised to believe that life is a series of random events. We think we're just lucky or unlucky based on the cards we were dealt at birth. I'm Amanda, the intuitive wife, and today I want to take you behind the curtain to a place called the planning room. This is the neutral space between lives where you, along with your guides and a team of master architects, sat down to design your current curriculum. Today we're talking about why you aren't a victim of your circumstances. You are actually the lead designer of them. Now, before we get into the mechanics of the plan, let's talk about the where. The planning room isn't a literal room with four walls. It's a high vibration space where you have absolute total clarity. When you're in this state, you aren't human Amanda or human you. You have shed the ego and the fear of the physical world. In this space, you are your highest self. You have full access to your entire soul history. You remember every life you have ever lived, every lesson that you've mastered, and exactly where you still have work to do. And here's the kicker. In this space, you aren't looking for a comfortable life. You aren't looking for a vacation. You are looking for an effective life, one that helps you learn and grow. Now, you might be thinking, Amanda, why on earth would I ever choose struggle over comfort? And if you were thinking that, I want you to look at your own life for a second. Think about the hardest thing you have ever gone through. Did it break you? Or did it actually make you who you are today? From the soul's perspective, the resistance is the point. To understand how we get to the design phase, you first have to understand the life review. Before you start planning your next move, you move through a deep, compassionate debrief of the life that you just finished. Both Dolores Cannon and the researcher Dr. Michael Newton describe this as a high-level analysis. It isn't a judgment. There's no God figure pointing a finger at you. Instead, it's a project debrief, you could say. You look at your previous life and you see where you left loops open. Did you master the lesson of boundaries? Did you learn how to navigate grief without losing your center? Once that debrief is complete, you move into the actual design phase. You meet with what many call the Council of Elders. Think of them as the ultimate spiritual master architects or project managers. They don't tell you what to do, but they do help you look at the soul blueprints of potential lives. They help you weigh the options. If you take this path, you'll master patience, but it will be difficult. If you take this path, you'll focus on creativity. This is a precision-mapped agreement based entirely on what your soul needs to learn next. And this is the part that is the hardest for our human minds to wrap around. We often choose the glitches. If your soul's goal in this lifetime is to master self-expression and owning your voice, you don't sign up for a life of luxury where everyone agrees with you. That doesn't build the muscle of expression. Instead, you sign up for a life with a recurring cast that tests your limits. Now, remember those mystery pains we talked about in the previous video? The gunshot wounds or the execution marks? In the planning room, those weren't just seen as trauma, they were repurposed. We choose to carry these echoes forward because they act like anchors. They keep us on a specific path. What if that glitch or that pain in your body right now isn't an accident? What if it's a reminder you set for yourself so you wouldn't drift too far away from the person you planned to be? You sit down with the souls who will become your parents, your partners, and even your antagonists. And this is where we have to be very careful, because it's where most people get hung up. We ask questions like, why would I ever choose for someone to treat me poorly? But imagine this. Picture yourself in the planning room. You look at a soul you deeply love, and you say, in this next life, my lesson is to finally use my voice. Will you play the role of the person who tries to silence me so that I am forced to find the strength to speak up? And because that soul loves you, they agree. They take on the role of the villain in your story so that you can become the hero of your own growth. They aren't doing it to hurt you. They're doing it because you asked them to help you graduate. And if you're thinking, there's no way I would have asked for that specific person to be in my life, I want you to consider this. To us, a decade or two of struggle feels like forever. But to your soul, this entire lifetime is just a blip. It's like a single semester in a huge education. What if that difficult relationship isn't a tragedy, but a targeted, high-intensity workout designed for your growth? And I know how this feels when you're in the thick of it. When I was struggling with my breathing and specialists were telling me there was nothing wrong with me, I didn't feel like an architect. I felt like a victim of my own body. It wasn't until I understood the planning room concept that I realized my respiratory issues were a deliberate part of my curriculum. So for me, that part of the curriculum was about learning to manage my energy as an empath. Those issues were my signal to stop inhaling everyone else's urgency and anxiety. They were my physical reminder to stay in my own frequency. The moment the lesson is truly learned, the reminder, whether that's a pain or a restriction, it no longer has a job to do. That is when the true reset happens. But let's be real, it is incredibly hard to remember your soul blueprint when you are drowning in the noise of everyday life. You get stuck in the human perspective and you lose the soul perspective. This is why in my videos, I constantly point back to the soul frequency bundle. The bundle is designed to clear your energetic field so you can actually get back to that neutral state, that planning room state, where you can remember why you chose this life in the first place. By clearing the external static and the clutter of other people's energy, you can finally hear your own inner architect again. You can find the link in the description below to grab your copy of the Soul Frequency Bundle. If your life is feeling messy or broken right now, I want you to consider that it might actually be perfectly on script. You aren't failing. You are participating in a very advanced curriculum. In our next video, we're going to talk about the recurring cast, those specific souls you invited into your life to play the villains or the teachers, and how to know when those contracts are finally complete. And I want to know, if you could look at one challenge in your life right now as a deliberate choice for your soul's growth, what would it be? Let's talk about it in the comments. I'm Amanda, the Intuitive Wife, and I will see you in the next video.